Hello and welcome to another edition of our top 10s of bike riding phrases, facts and figures. Today we're looking at our next topic, which is the top 10 bike riding tips. Now before we get started, I just want to talk about three things. Firstly, some of this stuff is a little delicate because this is things that are tips for people riding bikes. Now of course these are things to help reduce your risk, but we're not saying that this is a matter of who's at fault and who's not at fault. These are just things the bike rider can do. So that's number one. The second one is we want to make sure these facts are really concrete. These are tips that are concrete, things that you can hear and say, yes, I'll be able to do that. I know what you're talking about. And the third one to keep in mind is these are not advanced tips. These are not tips for the person who is an expert bike rider. These are tips for the everyday person who just wants to get around and enjoy their time on their bike. So here we go with number 10. Don't pass trucks and buses on the inside. If you've ever sit up in the cab of a truck, you can see just how little you can see down the inside. It's absolutely terrible. And of course, we should have better truck standards, but until we do, we say to everyone, be very careful going down the inside of a truck or bus, particularly when they're turning left. And they can go right out into the middle of the road to turn left. So, going down the inside, trucks and buses, be very careful. On to number 9, ride 1 metre out from parked cars. Being in that door zone is an area that is dangerous. Unfortunately, we do know though that some bike lanes are right up next to parked cars, and on that occasion, please make sure you ride near the right-hand side of that lane, and also keep your eye out, try and see what the car ahead of you is doing. Be very careful when you're near parked cars. On to number 8. On a shared path, don't ride faster than a human can run. Here we are on a lovely shared path, and we know that there can be some cause for conflicts on shared path. As a bike rider, do the right thing, watch your speed. There will be bikes, there will be prams, there will be dogs, there will be people walking. It's a lovely environment. Make sure we're respectful of everyone. Number 7, the danger is in front of you. I learnt this one from our former CEO, Harry Barber. One of the first times I rode around the city of Melbourne, he took me down Flinders Street. There were trams, there were buses, there were cars everywhere. He could tell I was a bit nervous. He could tell I was spending my time looking behind, and he said to me, remember the danger is in front of you. So it's advice that I think is a very good one that we all need to recognise. On to number 6. Drivers do the unexpected, so bike riders should do the expected. We know that when people get behind the wheel, they make a whole lot of mistakes. The more predictable we are with our bike riding, the more we keep in a straight line, or if we do need to deviate off that line when we're around vehicles, make sure we signal. That will make a big difference as well. Number 5, ride where other people are riding. We know that where there's lots of people riding, you are much safer together. Sometimes we hear people who are driving a car, when they do have a crash with a bike rider, they say this thing was, sorry mate, I didn't see you. The reality is, what they should say is that, sorry mate, I wasn't looking out for you. When there's lots of people riding bikes, people in vehicles are looking out for people riding bikes, so that's the best place to ride. Number 4, if it's dark, turn your lights on. It's the law for a reason. Make sure we have our lights on when it's dark, on the front and on the back. The question's often asked is, what other things should we wear? Should we have lots of lights on us? We don't really need lots of lights. There is some good evidence that it can help if you have a flashing light between your knee and your ankle. But as for all the other stuff, the most important one is just get your lights on the front and the rear of your bike. Number 3, most crashes happen at intersections. Be on high alerts. The stats are pretty clear on this. When you're coming up to an intersection, slow down, look carefully both ways, even when you have a green light. It's time to be on high alert. On to number 2, better late for your meeting than early for your funeral. Take it easy when you're riding. I learnt this one the hard way. The last time I came off my bike, I was rushing. It was the day before Christmas. I was trying to get home. I crossed over the tram tracks. I just went too quickly. The back wheel caught, and before I know it, I was on the ground. When I reflected on it afterwards, I thought, just slow down. Why did I rush? If I hadn't have rushed, I wouldn't have had the problem. Now, number 1, probably the most important one is have fun. Bike riding, it's about enjoyment. It's about freedom, it's about getting outside, it's about the fresh air, it's about feeling the rush. These are some tips that are here to help us, but the most important thing we always need to know is, how do we have fun on our bike, just enjoy ourselves? There's some things we can do to reduce our risk. So there you have it, the top 10 things to help you enjoy your bike riding. Let us know what you think, contact us on social media. Make sure you tune in next time for our top 10 arguments about restrictions on bike riders. But until then, get outside, enjoy your bike riding, look after one another, make sure you have each other's backs, and until then, happy riding.